Recording in progress.
Were they snoozing? No, they weren't snoozing, but they were just gazing. And I said, "You," and he, oh, I didn't wake him up with his eyes up, but did he sleep with his eyes up? Okay, no, he wasn't asleep. Jack was calm. Yeah. You're gonna need to get you a stick with a doggy biscuit on it. Yes, and he's at the beach. Rosie was delighted. Well, wasn't delighted. Scoop, my best friend. But he got 2%.
So baloney's back.
Yeah. This is the last. Downsides. Like you can't, you had to have time in that house. You not have to send you for this. Really. You guys had a good meeting this morning.
It was very organized and succinct and camera was close. You could hear everybody.
What'd you say? Good job.
We need to mark it on our calendar.
Alex, have we made any progress with the power plate fund?
Act with Jason Wall. Last
message I got from him was that back to college. Yeah. No, they didn't.
With the- Alice didn't hear that.
Call the meeting to order. Welcome, everybody, Wade. And before we start the meeting, and Tom, before we start the meeting, let's just have a moment of silence. In. Commissioners, y'all seen the agenda for the public forum. Have a motion to adopt the agenda. Commissioner Boucher, do I have a second?
A second,
I have a second from Commissioner
Lentz.
Lance. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Floor is open for public comments, you two.
Good evening, Wade Burns, 211 Virginia Road, a renter. Good evening. Y'all know I've had interest in,
Wade, you can take your mask off.
okay, thank you. Y'all know I've had interest in trying to see something happen with the properties up in the ETJ, what I call the Graybeard Triangle, bordered by Little Slady and Graybeard Stream and Conservation. And the issue has come up and getting closer to something needs a decision on as to whether or not any of us who are next to a water line can buy water from the town if we get a septic permit. And the planning and zoning completed the work for review that should be with you next month to clear up the general ordinances so septic would be allowed within ordinances. And so the question of whether or not people who are right next to the water line, in case of Theodosia Way, on top of the water line, can buy water. And the big reason for that is it's the most energy efficient, it's environmentally good, and you don't want 20 wells up there competing with your wells. But as a practical matter, those lots are small, and we've always talked about it'd be hard to have septic and a well and a house on these lots. I have laid out, I've cleared and laid out 2 sites. When I say cleared, I've cut the plant material but not touched the ground so that it's septic inspector could see the property. And then I've staked it out, laid it out with paint and flags and ribbon and string and so forth. And I'd like to invite any of you to come up. Y'all have access to my cell number because you can actually see All right, here's 2 lots, 1/4 acre, 0.27 acres. And this would be a 1,400-foot footprint. And with setbacks and stuff, it can squeeze right here, and maybe you can get a septic field right here, and these are the problems. And then could you get a well, which can't be within 100 feet of a septic? And the answer is going to be no in a great many cases. And so the only thing that works from a practical standpoint is for us who want to live up there to buy water from the town. There are 5 properties that aren't on the water, on your water line. The Hamiltons, the Burris, and Melanie Porter is about 20 feet from the water line. She might be able to be allowed. She'd have to go a few feet in right away that's not in front of her house to do it. And then the property that we own, our family owns. So I have been interested in pursuing completing the water lines that would reach our property with the hopes that we'd be able to buy water. And I've had a number of conversations with Barry. And the thing that makes sense and fits within our ordinances, because I applied for just a water line, paid the $950, and was, according to ordinances, denied as I expected. So I've ordered a survey of the right-of-way between our property and where the water becomes potable after it's left the chlorination station and so forth. Where I might then explore having a civil engineer design the water line that would come and serve those 5. Very familiar with this stuff, says it ought to be a 6-inch line and not smaller, because a 6-inch line would allow for a hydrant to be installed. And so those folks up there who perhaps are not in favor of annexation, not in favor of paying town taxes, it might be good if the woods are burning, we have a chance of putting the fire out before it reaches the taxpayers. I don't know, but anyway. So I'm looking at what it would cost for putting in a water line that'd be dedicated and donated to the town's pieces. Obviously, to even pursue that, it'd be interesting whether or not we'd be allowed to connect to the town water and buy water. So it's a decision that requires some thought. And I just want to get it before you to give some thought to. And I know the Wade family, no kin to me, has been very anxious to find out whether they can connect to the water lines on their property. And I look forward to maybe any of you giving me a call and come up, and so that you'll understand those lots that were platted all that time ago and see what might make sense for the broader community.
Wait, let me ask you a question. You've talked about, over the years, we've talked about water and sewer up there. Who's going to maintain those roads?
If the citizens can't get our act together to request an annexation that'll be 100% voluntary, then it'll be up to us to maintain the roads. I've bought material for doing it, and I've contributed to repairs after the last couple of events and so forth. The town, of course, has an interest in getting across the road because they've got to go to the chlorination station every day. But if as a group of property owners, we're not willing or able to get the 100% necessary to request an annexation, then we merely can do what I'm suggesting, that maybe we put money together to finish your infrastructure because you own it. It's in MRA's right away. And then if we're buying water, that is an extra source of revenue for systems already there. And there's some argument made that it'd be good for the town to sell water rather than having us put one well after another well after another well for those who actually could pull that off. So then the other thought I have is that if we complete that water line, and if we get a couple of folks, because everything's exploding in Black Mountain, as you know, a couple more folks that want to go now with some construction up there, that we have a chance of getting some folks more serious about what they'd be willing to do and commitments they'd be willing to make. And then also, as it becomes obvious that if the 20 lots up there became developed, they won't be with $250,000 houses because there aren't any left. You can't build one for $250,000. And so the tax base would be attractive to the city for annexation if it evolved to the point that it was the only way to get it was to go ahead and maintain roads and put in the sewer. But if you maintain roads and put in the sewer and the development happens as I'm confident it would, you'd be repaid in a very short number of years, and then you have an annuity, a positive cash out of that and taxes going forward. Just out on a limb.
Wait, let me just make sure I understand your thoughts. What you're saying is there are 5 lots owned by people right now that are not directly adjacent to the town water line.
Right.
And that you, being one of those owners, and the other 4 would put in that line yourselves at your cost to tap into the town water line?
That's the thought, along with my begging others to contribute. For instance, those who don't want to buy water because they have a well, they might like to have a fire put out. And that would be a way to get a hydrant up there. So, yeah, but we're looking at what it would take to do it. Also, there are 4 lots owned by MRA, and they can't have the water because the water line runs in front of them, but that's before it's finished chlorinating. And so then as it turns and comes back the other way, that's where this water line would go in so it could serve the MRA lots from the low side with water.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wade. Anyone else? Floor is open. Yes, ma'am.
You about this. So my name is Penny Phillips. I'm actually your neighbor. I still have an issue with the lights. The last time I heard from you was back on August 25th with not an answer, but not really no one coming out to solve my problem. He's known about the issue since this building has went up. I've had issues with the outside lights shining into my bedroom, shining into my bathroom, keeping me awake all night long. As a courtesy of being a neighbor, the only thing that I've asked is to respect myself and respect my privacy of living next to a town hall. And I feel that that has not happened. So I did reach out to you, left you a message. You have actually called him, and sorry, but no really communication coming from him. I feel, in my opinion, that I've been lied to. Otherwise, the lighting situation would have been taken care of when this was completed, and it has not. So I am here today as your neighbor to ask you to help me fix this problem. I do know my brother reached out to you as well, and you feel that you were given an ultimatum. And coming from me, and I talked to Mr. Shy as well, because at one point he did help me get the light off, and now it's back on. It's not an ultimatum. It's because nothing is coming from this person. The communication is, I need your help in helping me resolve that situation so I can have a quality of life. Because if you go to your Facebook page, Monteith Town page, what you see on the title of the page is quality of life. And I don't feel, as being your neighbor, because I've had this situation going on since this building has been built, but that has not happened. So I'm here as the neighbor, as Penny, to ask you in your help in solving the problem. Now, why the lights need to be on 24 hours, I don't know. Or from 8 PM to 8 AM, which is 12 hours. I don't see the necessity of having the lights on that long. So that's my ask, is of you, the board of the town of Montreat, is to help me fix that problem.
Ms. Phillips, Alex, what the last time we were going to talk to Duke Power and get them to, because Duke controls those lights for us, don't they?
So I've been in communication with one level of Duke. I have been told that I would be called back by another level of Duke. That hasn't happened, and I have not reached back out since then.
Would you reach back out
I would.
and see if we can take care of that? Sorry, Ms. Phillips, it hadn't happened yet.
So another question that I would have for him is, since this has been going on from day one, why hasn't he taken the opportunity to consult with you guys?
He and I talked about it when you called me. I
Yeah.
called and talked to him
But I feel,
because he's the manager.
Yeah.
We don't manage the day-to-day stuff.
and I-
That's his job.
and I get that because I'm a store manager myself. so
We
I
do
totally get that.
policy and and stuff like that, but he takes care of the day-to-day. So it goes back to him.
But I
and-
feel there's nothing coming from him.
Well, I'm asking him in front of you, and he said he's going to call Duke Power back and see if we can't get that turned off, okay?
Okay, so my question is,
He'll call tomorrow.
and when will you follow up with me?
I will follow up with you in the morning.
That's all I'm asking.
Okay, and Ms.
If-
Phillips,
if
as,
to help resolve that.
as far as your brother and an ultimatum,
Well,
what, no, let me finish. What he said to me is, if you're not going to call, I'm going to give you 10 days, and if you don't call Duke Power, I'm going to call them. And I said, fine, if you've got pull with Duke Power, you call them. And I was serious. That wasn't
Yeah.
being ugly back to him. I'm saying, if you can get more results than I can with Duke Power, please call them.
well, I mean, in due respect, he told me that he just said that he would call you back in 10 days because, once again, lack of communication.
He told me that I didn't get it fixed, he would call Duke Power. I said, call them.
Okay.
Please call them.
Okay.
If you got influence with
Well,
Duke,
you know,
please call 'em. Okay, we'll work on it, I promise you.
yeah, because
And Alex will call you tomorrow.
it's
Okay?
night after night, I'm not sleeping.
Okay, I understand. And we'll work with you on it, okay?
That's all I ask.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
All
Who's up next? Anybody? Tom? You know, I've got you blanketed with 2 female police officers sitting right behind you. And they have their eyes right on you. Okay, does anybody have anything else? If not, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn until 7 o'clock when we start our regular meeting.
So moved.
Have a
Second.
motion from Mayor Pro Tem Whitmer. Do I have a
Second.
second? From Commissioner Pro Tem Kirkpatrick. Shaney Kirkpatrick. I do that all the time. Alexander. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. We stand adjourned.
Well, she must have been a fine lady. Good.
What was, something was said about charging for water, even if you're not getting water, what was that? Did I miss that? I missed something, because something said about charging, if you got water or not. I guess that was good.
See if I can.
Uh-huh. You know, you knew she was gonna be a hiker. So well done. Like, it was just, but it looks so like she's. Thank you. I love it. We've been such a that and waiting. Spent a little time on our 10-year-old. He's been coming up to teach virtual. So in his school, so we've been having. It's just. He's real good.
We're waiting for you.
We've been waiting for you.
flag, so you get the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All stand on the side. Not forget. Number 11. Folks, y'all looked, commissioners, you've looked at the agenda, and I've got an addition. Want to add a motion at the end of the, let's see, where am I gonna add it? And item E is to look at a contract from CT Paving to repave or repair Calvin Trail where it washed out during the storm. Add that to item E. And Alice, you had, you wanted to pull the August 12th Town Council meeting minutes.
Yes, sir.
I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda with those two changes.
I so move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second from Commissioner Fouché. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, on,
Yes.
excuse me, on my request to pull the August 12th, that was simply minutes, that was simply to clarify something that was recorded as to be presented in my commissioner comments in August, which I'm looking at page 11 of the report of those minutes,
Okay.
that I'd indicated that it would be presented in September or October. The minutes recorded next month. The record was checked. It said September or October. It will not be presented September, but we're not going to be late because I had said it will be September or October. Angie
Okay.
has already made that correction. And I appreciate that, Angie, but that's what that's about.
So that has been corrected.
It's been corrected.
Okay, don't need to pull it then. Okay. All right, with those changes, I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor of adding those and deleting those, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. My communication is, we're back to masks indoors at Town Hall and at the Town Services Building. And I hate it, but we've got to do it. And it's something that we need to do for each other. And as we go to the post office and other MRA meetings or buildings or whatever, I don't care if it's 10,000 Villages or the store or wherever, we need to have our masks on and respect our fellow Montreaters and those that are visiting here, and make sure that we don't add to the problems with the Delta virus that's going around. With that, I'll go on to the, Alex, you want to cover the consent agenda?
Sure. Your consent agenda tonight has the August 12th Town Council Public Forum meeting minutes on it. And I believe you pulled the August 12th Town Council meeting minutes off the consent for a vote. And if I could go into my communications tonight, I have two. One, we found out the other day that the President Biden has approved a declaration of state of emergency for Western North Carolina related to Tropical Storm Fred. What that means is there will be federal and state dollars flowing into Western North Carolina. I've already been in communication with the county and the state about being part of that for the damage that we sustained during Fred. So if we qualify, and I don't know if we do yet, but if we qualify, then the repairs for various projects from Tropical Storm Fred will be reimbursed at 100%. That's my first communication. My second communication is the Planning and Zoning Commission met this morning, had a very productive meeting. They have voted on and agreed upon their recommendations for amending the general ordinances related to water and sewer. So the recommendations from for the general ordinance updates will be coming before you next month. The Planning and Zoning Commission, as you know, already amended the zoning ordinance and made amendments to the water and sewer requirements. And now they're making matching amendments they're recommending matching amendments to the general ordinances. And those are my communications for tonight.
Thank you, Alex. Any questions of Alex from the commissioners?
Alex, we talked last week about the increased budget on Texas Road going beyond 125,000. And you were waiting for an answer from the state as to whether we could be reimbursed for any portion of the increase. Have you heard back from them?
I've been in communication with them, the Office of Emergency Management, but I don't have a definitive answer yet. So the Tropical Storm Fred kind of redirected a lot of the attention of that department at the state. But continuing to work on that.
Thanks.
Any other questions of Alex? All right, we have, commissioners, you've received written reports on the administrative department, finance, planning and zoning, police, public works and water, sanitation and streets. Any questions on any of those reports or any comments on any of those reports?
I just wanted to ask Barry about the well that seems to not be yielding anymore. Will the other wells be able to keep up with the demand?
Yes, ma'am. Currently, those wells are keeping up with the demand. That well went from a 25 gallon a minute well down to 2 gallon a minute or less. Why? I have no idea. The good news is I had them set the pump at 580 feet, 585 feet, which is 15 feet off the bottom. And I've done a small drawdown today and the yield looked good. I've not done an extended period like a summer run time or anything to see if the yield would hold up, but we're planning on doing that over the next few weeks or within the month to see if we can continue to have that type of yield. So we might be in luck on it.
And before you leave, I saw that the folks were there at well A today.
Yes, sir.
Did they get that?
They came in and set a test pump so that we can actually do a extended drawdown on it, so we can rate the correct pump for that, so we can eliminate a lot of that air that people are getting in the system.
So what were all those pipes leaning against the building?
That's the standpipe for the pump to push the water up out, pull it out of
Gotcha. 300 feet or something?
320 or something like that. Yeah.
Thanks.
Next item on the agenda, unless there are any other questions or comments on the reports. Next item on the agenda is the public comment. Anybody have any public comment? Want to add to the meeting right now? See nobody jump up and run up to the microphone. We'll proceed. Item number 8 is old business. We don't have any old business tonight. Now we move into new business. Item A under new business is the comprehensive plan steering committee. There's a suggested motion there. Can I get that?
Can we discuss it first, Mr. Mayor?
Nope.
Or- Nope.
You got to have a motion before you can have any
All right,
discussion.
I move that we approve to refer to the Planning and Zoning Commission the appointment of an 8-person comprehensive plan steering committee.
Now we can discuss it when we get a second.
Second, Jane
2
Alexander.
seconds. Now, if you want to, when we get through discussion, if you want to change or modify the motion, then we can do that. So it's up to y'all.
Okay, I just have a technical question. In the 2008 plan, there were actually 9 people on that committee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 people on that committee, including the town administrator. I was just wondering where the 8-person came from and was it intentional to reduce the size of it?
I don't believe it was intentional to reduce the size, no.
All right, then I would suggest that we either amend the motion by saying a 9-person comprehensive plan steering committee or leave it at 8 and include the town administrator. Yeah.
And what is the reason for 9/8?
I would think to not have a tie.
That's why y'all got me.
The other thing is, do you all feel comfortable with no dates in there? We're going to be on a tight time frame, I think. And quite frankly, I would feel more comfortable putting in the October 21 date for the assignment of the committee and maybe an end date for when that comprehensive plan will be to us, because we need to have it approved by July 1 to be in compliance with 160D. Yeah, maybe. Right, the appointment of a 9-member comprehensive planning steering committee not later than October 21st, with the submission of the final draft plan to the commission not later than whatever you all feel comfortable. It would be
May
either-
31.
What'd you say?
I would suggest May 31,
May 31,
2022.
2022.
May I add some context? So on page 37 of your agenda packet, this is in the RFP that I've suggested. That RFP is not for action tonight. It's merely for information and context. But there is a timetable for the actual process of updating the comprehensive plan, and it lays out benchmarks for the vendor. I think that hitting a May deadline with all the tasks that need to be accomplished would be very difficult to accomplish. I think that hitting a June deadline would be more feasible. I don't have a calendar in front of me, but we could say the commission date. I would suggest the regular standing commission meeting as being the deadline.
That would give us, well, are you suggesting that it would be approved at that meeting? Or be submitted to us?
I'm suggesting it be submitted to you at that meeting. It would give you an opportunity of about 3 weeks to debate and call a special meeting.
That's fine with me.
I concur. And Alex, certainly on the RFP, it was very, very helpful having all these dates in here. So thank you for that. I mean, I think it was very clear, but I also agree with Commissioner Whitmer, Mayor Pro Tem Whitmer, that having a couple of dates in the motion is important, since not all will be reading the RFP, and since it's just for our consideration right now.
Can somebody get their tongue around all that? Give me an alternate motion.
Can we make that the end of June and hopefully be ready by town council meeting? It gives us a little wiggle room.
Please.
Okay, we were talking about setting June 9th at the council meeting as the deadline, but I say, can we go to the end of June, June 30th?
We need to have it approved by June 30th per 160D. And that if they didn't submit it to us at our meeting, but at the end of June, we wouldn't have any time to look at it.
I was thinking approval. Okay, so June 9th.
So you want me to give a try here, Mr. Mayor? I move to, the amended motion would read, I move to approve to refer to the Planning and Zoning Commission the appointment of a nine-person comprehensive plan steering committee to be appointed by October 21st, 2021, and for the plan to be submitted to the commission not later than June 8th, 2022.
June 9th.
June 9th, sorry.
Do I have a second to that motion? The amended motion,
Did you say October 31st or October 20th?
October 21st.
October 21.
That coincides with their next planning and zoning meeting, doesn't it? Yeah. Have a second from Commissioner Fouché. Further discussion?
Yes. Question, does that 9-person committee include the town administrator?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that needs to be said.
Okay, so insert 9-person comprehensive plan steering committee, including the town administrator, to be appointed by October 21.
You okay with that, Kitty? Just second it then? Okay.
Did you get any of that?
Have a motion, I think, and we have a second, I think. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes carry. Budget amendment number 1, suggested motion, move to approve or deny budget amendment number 1 in the amount of $96,000. Who's going to talk to that? Okay, Alex.
So these funds are the ARPA funds that we've already voted to receive. The ARPA funds are coming in 2 tranches. The first tranche is budgeted here as required by the ARPA regulations. They have to be budgeted in an expense account. We've broken them up into 2 budget amendments, one for $96,000 in the administration department. And then the next budget amendment that we'll ask you to look at is for $42,633.39. And that would be as proposed in the streets department. The reason we put these funds in the administration department, we haven't gotten to the point where we're ready to make the recommendation, but we're working towards a recommendation of using ARPA funds for financial software. And so this would put enough ARPA funds into the administration department so that we could purchase financial software in this fiscal year. The streets department, when we originally sent out this budget, the water department was included for a water line to be determined in the future, water line project to be determined in the future. But we put it in the streets department now to make available for Tropical Storm Fred damages. And I can speak to that at the next item as well.
That's the 42,633.39 balance.
That's correct.
Okay, need a motion and a second, or so we can get some discussion going.
I move to approve budget amendment number 1 in the amount of $96,000.
Have a motion,
I second.
have a motion from Alexander and a second from Lance. Discussion or questions?
So Alex, just make sure I understand. The first what'd you call it? Trench? Trench?
Tranche. Yes, sir.
It's a new word for me. It is $138,633.39. And that's what these two budget amendments add up to. So we account for the whole amount.
That's correct. So no, that's not correct. I'm sorry. So I don't remember the number that they add up to off the top of my head, but the ARPA funds are set up functionally in two different buckets. One being revenue replacement funds that looked at our income and our projects and our losses during the pandemic, and would go to basically make us whole for that. And that those funds don't have strings attached, like they don't have to be used for public health projects, they don't have to be used for water line projects or stormwater projects, they can be used for anything. So this $138,633.39 is the total of what is revenue replacement funds from the ARPA funds. So the actual ARPA funds are above that amount, but we are not yet budgeting the projects that have strings attached as to what they can be, the money can be spent on them.
Great, great explanation. Thank you.
I have one more question, Alex. I remember the software, some of the money was coming from administration and some from the water department. Is that still the case?
No, not under this budget amendment. We would be paying it all out of administration. So the 96,000 would be the total.
Okay.
And actually, it will probably be less than 96,000. We're still working on getting the final number.
Good.
Any other questions of Alex?
Just sort of to reemphasize that point, I know we were concerned that the budgeted amount of $95,000 for financial software a year or two ago may have gone way up. And my recollection is that you found out that it had gone perhaps down a little bit when we asked you to update those numbers. So I feel good about this. And I think this is just a really important step for us to take.
Thank you, Alice. Other questions or comments? Call for the vote then. Budget amendment number 2. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Ayes carry. Budget amendment number 1. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. Have we got them both, Angie? Are we okay with that? Okay. I didn't see any need to have them separated that much. Okay, item D, Graybeard wall repairs.
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we table this motion.
I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Whitmer to table this motion. Do I have a second? I have a second from Commissioner Fouché. All those in favor of tabling the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Hey.
Okay. Ayes carry. Item number 10, public comment. Any more public comment from anybody?
Mr. Mayor, if we could vote on the C&T paving contract. as well.
Oh, yeah. I added that and didn't do it. My bad. Item E, move to approve a contract from CT Paving Incorporated in the amount of $7,590 for the repairs of Calvin Trail. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the contract from C&T Paving, Inc. in the amount of $7,590 for the repairs on Calvin Trail.
Commissioner Lentz has made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Mayor Pro Tem Whitmer. Discussion? This was from the storm, not that. Which one was this?
This is for Calvin Trail from Tropical Storm Fred.
Fred. Good
So-
old Fred.
So Alex,
Alberto, Fred, who else we got coming? Go ahead.
just to make sure that I'm remembering what you said in your report, the good news is that with the emergency call for Western North Carolina, that it looks as if, assuming details get worked out, that this would be a fully 100% reimbursement. Is that correct?
It looks
it-
that way.
okay.
If we meet the threshold for being part of the emergency declaration from the county at the
Mhm.
county level, then that will be the case.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Since that road was just paved very recently, how are they going to repave it in a way that we don't have to redo this again on the next storm?
We'll have to go up there with a backhoe and sit in front of that big culvert and hope that no more trees come down and block it. That's exactly what it is. I mean, I don't know how to stop it, Barry, do you?
Unfortunately, during this last event, that's a 6-foot galvanized culvert that was right there where it broke stream bed and run down the road. We thought the culvert was plugged up by debris. Once the waters receded, there was no blockage. It was carrying all that that culvert would carry and then some. So really, you know, we're at the hands of Mother Nature, whether that asphalt will stay for another year or however many years it takes before we get a storm or a rain event like that. It's just in a bad spot.
Such is life in Montreat in the mountains. Have a motion, have a second. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes carry. Now, public comment. Anybody have any public comment? Okay. I do want to welcome Chris Greathouse. Is that right, Chris? Stand up, Chris. You're with development at the college. Good. Well, welcome to our community and thanks for coming to the meeting and hope we have a regular face here. Thank you.
Chris, for the record, what is your title at Montreat College? Thank you.
Keep your hands on your wallets. Oh, teasing. All right, we've been through all of this. Do we have any commissioner communication?
I do, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Want to give an update on land care briefly and Montreat Tree Board. And so with land care, it looks as if April 23rd is the date for the native plant sale. If it happens, April 23rd, which is right at Earth Day. So that would be through the Montreat Land Care. What will happen as well at that time is special event with the American Chestnut Foundation, given our having to cancel that event on September 4th, which the Montreat Tree Board was hosting for us. But just want to let the community know that, yes, there will continue to be conversations and engagement with the American Chestnut Foundation as we seek to plant and nurture those little seedlings around. And there will be a presentation at the Montreat Land Care native plant sale, if indeed that happens on April 23rd, which we hope will be the case. So I think I just knocked out a tree board report and a Montreat Land Care report at once, but always lots of activity with both of those groups.
Thank you, Alice. Anyone else? Any other commissioner? Anybody have anything? Okay, dates to remember. Board of Adjustment, September the 23rd, 2021, 4 o'clock through 9 p.m. at the by Zoom software and in person. Attendance at Montreat Town Hall, be right here. Montreat Tree Board, September the 28th, 2021, 9:30 a.m. by Zoom software or in person here at Town Hall. Montreat Land Care, October the 6th, 2021, 9 in the Allen Building, 9 a.m. Then the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, October the 14th, 2021, 10:30 a.m. by Zoom software here at Town Hall. Town Council meeting, October the 14th, 2021, 7 p.m. by Zoom software and in person. Attendance at Montreat Town Hall. Public forum begins at 6:30. Montreat Tree Board, October the 26th, 2021, 9:30 a.m. by Zoom software and in person. Attendance at Montreat Town Hall. And really, MRA and the college, we all support you guys financially and in spirit all the time. Didn't mean to make light of your position, and I know you will be asking for money though. Okay. We need to go into executive session. Do I have a motion to go into executive session to talk about legal matters? Have a motion from Commissioner Fouché to go into executive session, talk about legal matters. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second from Alice Lentz. Discussion? Questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We'll adjourn to the boardroom. Y'all are welcome to wait as long as you want to. Have no idea when we'll be back.